So Dave Silverman, the president of American Atheist, and arguably best known for this comical exchange.
All right. Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. You can explain why the tide goes in.
Tide goes in, tide goes out.
See, the water, has recently put a post up on Facebook stating, "I'm tired of hearing from people who don't want to come to the American Atheist Convention 2014 because they don't like the opinions or actions of one speaker or another." Now, this is doubtless related to the fact that P.Z. Myers has just been invited to their 2014 convention. And yes, that's the same P.Z. Myers who saw fit to publish third-hand, anonymous accusations that Michael Shermer was a serial rapist. Anonymous accusations that you cannot defend yourself against. Incidentally, you might be interested to know that Shermer has made it clear that he intends to sue P.Z. Myers, and if you're interested in helping that happen, there's a link below, stating, "My reputation is all I have. I did nothing wrong, legally or morally. I intend to defend myself and prosecute Myers until he issues a retraction and apology, as stated by my attorney." Anyway, Dave continues on his Facebook saying, "Perspective, please. Diversity is a good thing, and the reality of the movement is it is diverse, not only in race and sex, but also in idea and opinion. So come to the convention and hear different points and perhaps, communicate with those allies with whom you disagree to see where the common ground is. On the other hand, if you want agreement on everything, stay at home and talk to your mirror. But for the record, I will not be cancelling any of the speakers on any side because of any current issues. If you don't want to come, you'll miss out on the largest and greatest atheist convention of the year, and it will all be on you." Well, to be honest, Dave, if you're going to invite vitriolic witch hunters like Myers to your convention, I think it's entirely par for the course that people will ask, what kind of skeptics are you? I mean, you might want to listen to this guy, one Dave Silverman, saying that if someone says something reprehensible about someone, then they're not going to be your friends anymore.
I don't have people, and believe me, please, if anybody from any of my list of friends anywhere posts anything that would be termed harassment, or, hey, you should go fuck a knife, man, that's not my friend anymore. Okay, that's not my friend.
You need
if somebody says, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna create a fake anonymous Twitter account so that I can just send you nasty grams over and over and over again," because I know that most activists are volunteers and can leave at will, and you know this.
Gotta say, Dave, I think you're talking a lot of sense here, and that the Dave who is happy to invite someone who has just made an anonymous accusation that someone is a serial rapist to your 2014 convention has a lot to learn from you. Indeed, I would have thought you would have had a little more empathy, because when it became cool for the social justice warriors to throw around anonymous accusations about sexual misconduct, yours was one of the many names they gleefully mentioned. And I can hear you now, Dave, saying, "That's outrageous. How the hell am I supposed to defend myself against anonymous accusations?" Exactly, Dave. And the man who is engaging in just that sort of activity is the one that you said you will under no circumstances cancel. Now, according to Myers' reasoning, you might be innocent. But even if we have no trial, no impartial appraisal of the evidence, and you have no ability to confront your accuser, we should treat you like a sexual offender, just in case. The good old Napoleonic justice, guilty until proven innocent. How do you feel about that, Dave? Well, at any rate, any plans that I had for attending the American Atheist Convention have just gone. I'm sorry, Dave, but this one is a deal breaker. But maybe one of the speakers that you had last year, one Richard Carrier, who spoke about Atheism Plus, got one thing right. People will judge you by your actions.
The main point here, as a community, as a representative, as someone who's representing the atheist community, as someone who's a member of the atheist community, Don't let bad atheists represent you. This is one of the important elements of this, is that the way you behave, the things you denounce, the things you speak out about, communicate to the wider public, not just the atheist community, what atheists are all about, what atheists stand for, what atheists are against, and what they are for.
I have no interest in being associated with such petty and vindictive witch hunters who throw around accusations that someone is a serial rapist like it's nothing serious and that it shouldn't affect your career or reputation in any way. I also noticed that you seem to have drunk the social warrior Kool-Aid on the code of conduct too. I mean, for brevity, I'll skip the 40% of the code of conduct that relates to gays, lesbians, trans people, and so on. I mean, holy fucking shit. 40% of your code of conduct relates to trans people. I mean, why is it you think that I need a manual on how to interact with trans people? And to be honest, I'm not even sure I've ever met anyone who is trans. But you don't think that I need a similar manual on how to interact with everyone else. I mean, it just drips of this sterile, PC banality that would just suck the life out of any convention before it's even begun. But this is maybe the worst bit of the code of conduct. American Atheist does not tolerate harassment of or by the conference participants in any form. Prohibited conduct may include, but is not limited to, harassment related to gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, age, religion, sexual images in public spaces not related to the convention sessions and material, and so on. Are you fucking kidding me? Harassing behavior related to religion is not permitted. I mean, what American Atheist is primarily known for is running billboards that the religious find offensive.
Okay? You say something's a scam.
Yep,
On
it
a
is a
sign.
scam.
And then you come in here where millions of people are watching you and say that's not an insult. What does the word scam mean to you?
Scam means it's deliberately misleading people. And
That's not an insult?
it's not an insult to the people. The people are just following.
It's not an insult to the people?
It's a state.
Now, if it's true or not is irrelevant, because the code of conduct of the American Atheist Convention states that you cannot harass people based on their religion. And the even greater irony is this conference is being held in Salt Lake City. Tell me, Dave, how many of the Mormons do you think would classify this t-shirt with the American Atheist poster on it as harassing them based on their religion? That is, most of the billboards that American Atheists runs would clearly violate their code of conduct at the American Atheist Convention. Not only that, but you only have to watch any of Dave Silverman's interviews on Fox News, and the irony just drips from it. Dave has gone from this First Amendment advocate, stressing that religions have to be fair game.
No apology is necessary. In America, where we have freedom of the press, everything is fair game. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, it's all fair game.
To taking up the reins of the Fox News contributor.
He says that if Rick Santorum is elected, we're going to have the Pope Benedict as our president, and he was a former Nazi. I mean, and this is not funny stuff. I mean, we all know humor when we hear it. This is not satire. This is not humor. This was a spewing of his hatred for Catholicism.
Where you shouldn't offend people's religion in their code of conduct at their conference. Let me just tell you where you're heading with this, Dave. It's been about a year since Jen McCreight started Atheism Plus. You invited Richard Carrier to speak on the matter at your last American Atheist conference. He called for people to upvote his talk if they supported it and to settle it by popular vote. His video now has an 11% approval rating, whereas the video that I made criticizing Atheism Plus has a 94% approval rating. If I were a religious man, I would say God is trying to tell you something. Or if that wasn't enough, you can see how Atheism Plus founder, that's one Jen McCreight, is really pulling in the audiences. I mean, here she is at her latest Secular Student Alliance meeting, packing them into the rafters. And just to be clear, this isn't photoshopped or anything. That's Jen talking to an all but empty room.
Don't make it the day before, make it weeks ahead of time. two or 3 weeks is great. Even months is okay. It's really important to get this out there ahead of time.
And yes, by some miracle, the video, which had approval ratings in single digits, somehow has had its ratings disabled. Good show, Secular Student Alliance. Nothing shows a willingness to take criticism than taking a leaf out of the Discovery Institute's book when people start to express different opinions. You know, it's shit like this that really makes me not want to go to such conferences. We're saying something that is religiously offensive, like women should be free to wear what they want, can get you thrown out of the conference, whereas publishing third-hand anonymous accusations that someone is a serial rapist. Nah, that guy's cool. He should definitely speak at our conference. Yeah, welcome to Atheism Plus. You know, I might not agree with Penn Jillette on everything, but damn, I would far rather have one obnoxious loudmouth like him than 1,000 PC whiners who waste everyone's time making sure that no one is ever offended. Or give me one pasty but big-hitting slug like Hitchens than 1,000 well-groomed faux intellectuals like Carrier. Because let's face it, if this movement is to die, it's far more likely to be bled to death by the bite of 1,000 talentless parasites, all to the soundtrack of the bleating of 1,000 professional victims, led by those who are too neurotic and too fearful to make decisions for fear of offending anyone, rather than the bold, clear, and insightful statements of those who really don't give a fuck about those who rush to the fainting couch because someone said a naughty word.
If you base the design of planes on science, they fly. If you base the design of rockets on science, they reach the moon. It works, bitches.